This video is sponsored by none other than Lead Heroes, you guys. Lead Heroes has got you covered when it comes to telemarketed leads and virtual staffing. On the lead side, whether it be Medicare supplement leads, final expense leads, turning 65 leads, they just got something for everybody. They can also actually have you plug in with one of their virtual staff members on the staffing side to where you can pay by the hour for one of their trained and very well vetted staff members to help you out in your business in a virtual assistant format. Just because you watch this video, they're going to give you 10% off any order you make on their website. Link to the site can be found down in the description, so go ahead and check them out.
Okay, guys. I want to say that I'm live, but I never actually believe it until I see it with my own eyes. And we are live. Alrighty. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? You guys are having a great evening. And as promised, I'm here to do a exclusive live Q&A with you guys where I'm going to stay on here with you as late as you guys need me to. Of course, I'll be making it up to the missus on Mother's Day and making sure that I don't talk to any of you on Sunday. So I hope you guys enjoy this because you're not going to get any more of me probably for the rest of the weekend. But as promised, I wanted to do an exclusive training with you guys, primarily due to the fact that we did a little experiment in terms of how far a post can go. How many people can it possibly see? And you guys were amazing. You definitely showed out and helped me out there. So I really wanted to give my thanks and my appreciation. So what we have on task for tonight, this evening, is I'm going to be doing a training with you guys where I'm going to talk about agency building and making your agency really grow and boom. We're going to be talking about culture tonight. We're going to be talking about branding. We're going to be talking about automation and delegation. And we're going to be talking about investing into your business, right? So there's a lot to get into there. And of course, we're going to be doing a Q&A as well, to where any questions that you guys have, anything that I can answer for you, I'm going to do it, right? I'm not going to get off of here until every single question of yours is answered. I'm here to bring value tonight. I'm not here to pitch anything. I'm not here to talk about anything other than how can I help you? How can I help your business today, okay? So let's kind of just jump right into it. Now, I wanted to mention to you guys, of course, this is going to be a live Q&A, so any questions that you have, throw them in the chat, throw them in the comments right now, because once I go through the topics that I promised that we will talk about, I will come back and answer every single question or topic or address any topic or whatever you want in the comments once we're done and once we kind of get through the topics that I promised you guys, okay? And last time I did one of these, I was on here for about 2 hours. So I'm going to crack open a Red Bull, take a page out of my buddy Glenn Shelton's book, because it's been a long day, a long week. I've worked a ton. And I just want to make sure that I have plenty of energy for you guys. Some people say that water is the best thing for me to drink. Whatevs. I'm drinking the Red Bull. All right, guys, so let's just jump right in. First thing I want to talk about in terms of agencies, I want to talk about culture. I would make the argument that there is potentially nothing more valuable. Another thing is, I'm not using typical microphone, guys, so do me a favor if you're watching. Throw in the comments if you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can't hear me okay. Let me know if we need to mess with the settings at all, okay? If I don't hear anything, I'm just going to assume I'm coming through all right. I would make the argument that there is close to nothing that is more important and impactful for an agency than culture. Culture is hugely impactful and hugely important for your agency. I believe that when it comes to culture, it starts at the top, okay? It's going to start at the top, and it's going to come down to everybody, okay? So you are going to set the premise, right? If there is toxicity in your organization, it's because you allowed it in your organization. If there is a sense of growth, a sense of pulling everybody up, right? A sense of leading from the front, it's because you have done a good job of setting that precedent, okay? How do you develop great culture? I think that we have great culture in our office. We've had agents that have worked with us that have essentially been flown out, right, to spend days at our office at a time. And one thing they say is, the culture here is great, right? Everybody in the office is fantastic. There isn't any negative conversation. There isn't any negative talk going on. And part of that is because anybody that works for me, or anybody that works with me, I should say, anybody that's a team member in our office, we don't allow negative talk. We don't allow negativity to enter the office. If anybody comes into the office and they're negative or they have a bad attitude or anything like that, I'm typically going to have them leave and go home. And if it's a recurring, would you agree with that?
Yeah, you sent me home a few times.
Had to, attitude from the wifey. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Happy Mother's Day. But it is very important, right? And another thing that's very important is I think it's important that the people that work with you know that you care about them, but at the same time, you have to set some proper boundaries, right? I think there's a difference between being an employer for somebody and being their friend. I think you can have a friendly and fun working relationship, but at the same time, I think that it's very, very important that you set certain kinds of boundaries, because you don't want anybody to think that they necessarily can walk all over you. And sometimes people think if they look at you more as a friend than they look at you as a boss, they're not going to be as keen on following your instructions as well as they need to. What's up, guys? What up, Ricardo? How can I make 300K? Oh, I'm excited to talk about that. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about that, guys. I'll get to it. So culture is so important, and it's important that you set the standard, whatever it's going to be. Your business is a reflection on you. Your business is going to really kind of mirror your personality, and for better or for worse. And if your personality is not setting the standard for a great culture, you have to do some work on you, numero uno, in order to fix that, okay? Anybody that's been in this group for a long time, I'm sure that you would say it's not a stretch to say that I've had some personality flaws, okay, since I started this group. Some of you probably can recall situations where I've just gone at people in the Facebook group. I think I've gotten much better at that in the last 8 to 12 months. But I have some personality flaws. I've had to do some work on myself to be a better leader and to be a better mentor, to be a better employer, to be a better husband, whatever the case might be, right? Self-awareness is a big part of it, right? Like, what am I doing to cause this problem? I was talking to somebody earlier today in my office who's just getting started selling, and I was talking to him on the phone actually, and one thing I told her and I reminded her is like, everybody likes to blame everybody else. People don't want to look in the mirror and say, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? And it's very hard because it's a shot at your ego. It really is. We all have an ego. Even if your ego might not be humongous or anything like that, everybody's got an ego. I have one. You have one. And sometimes you have to put your ego in check and have some self-awareness to say, what could I do differently, right? And I think that all has to do with culture, okay? I want to talk about branding. We'll talk a little bit more about culture, actually. I have a couple more thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys on it. Like I mentioned, I think setting proper boundaries is good, I think it's incredibly important who you bring into your office. How many of you, and it's a rhetorical question, but you're welcome to throw it in the chat if you'd like, if you're employers, how many of you have interviewed somebody and you're like, if I had to come in into work and see that person every day, I'd shoot myself in the head. I'd jump in front of a bus. I've had a lot of interviews like that. Mr. Glenn Shelton, my husband, saw me drinking Red Bull. I did this for you, by the way. Did it for you. But how many times have any of you that are employers have you interviewed somebody and you're like, I don't think I could stand being around that person every day? You got to make sure that you bring the right people into your business. It's so vital for your growth, right? You need to surround yourself with great people, and building a great team is really, really going to be part of that. You want people that are hungry, smart, humble, problem solvers. Problem solvers is going to be so important in your business. Actually, one of the number one questions I ask people these days that I didn't ask a couple of years ago when I'm doing an interview with somebody to come work at the office is, how good are you at problem solving, right? Like, do you need your hand held a lot? And everyone's going to say, yes, I'm a good problem solver, but how fast they actually answer that question, I can read them fairly well. I can tell if they're bullshitting me or not. Sometimes people have a good poker face, but I think it's important to have people in your organization that can handle things, right? And I think everybody in our organization is very, very smart, capable, and they can handle tasks without needing their handhold every step of the way. I think that's very, very important. So who you surround yourself with, who you build in terms of your team matters. And you don't want to settle for mediocre. You want nothing but extravagant and incredibly talented people in your organization, right? The other thing is you want everybody in your organization to feel like they're being treated fairly, the whole 9 yards, right? You guys all know this. That's all culture, right? Having a good culture is people feel like they're happy to come to work every day. They're in a good mood. They have a good attitude, and they feel like they're part of a bigger purpose. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of close that out in terms of culture. So let's talk about branding for a second. One of my most favorite topics to talk about in branding your business. It is so important to brand your business. It is vitally important. I was talking to somebody today that sells a lot of insurance. And this particular person came into the office, and they make a spectacular income selling final expense. But essentially what I got out of the conversation is they're trying to do Medicare, having a more difficult time selling Medicare. And one thing that a comment he made that I think is very, very important, and it really stuck out at me, was it's not as transactional. Couldn't have said it better myself. Our business and our niche, in my opinion, is going to be exploded when you have a brand. Now, how do you develop a brand? Well, I think there's 3 key elements you have to really nail down if you're going to brand your business properly. Number 1, you need to know, what is my business about? What is our mission? What is our purpose of our business? And it's good to have a large goal, a company goal, right? A company goal that's going to be incredibly inspiring for everybody that works in your organization. You don't want it to be cheesy or anything like that, but sometimes things like that get a little cheesy. But I actually love big goals, big ambitions, the purpose of the business. I think our goal for our business is we want to be the best client experience for new members possible. From the time they come in, from the time that they walk out, I want them to feel assured. I want them to when they have a bump in the road, I want them to know they can call in and get excellent help from our team. And I think that is the case. And I think we also want that same experience with agents. We want the agents to feel like they're cared about, their needs are cared about, and everything like that. So that's a big part of my brand with my business. you need to figure out what your mission statement is. Couldn't have said it better myself, Kevin. Mission statement is exactly the word I would want to use. So that's number one in branding, right? Your mission statement, your long-term goal, your large aspiration. What is the message of my business? Number two, you need brand recognition. So you need a logo that you are comfortable with, that you can be proud of. Ask yourself this. If I showed my logo to anybody, is there a chance that I would be ashamed to show it to somebody? I had a brand and a logo previously that was like a cartoon face of me. Some of you might remember it. I was kind of embarrassed of it sometimes because it was essentially a cartoon-like face that was designed that was really me when I was really getting started and I was really young. Anyway, I didn't like it. So that's a big part of why we rebranded to the logo and look we have today. I like it much better. I'm much more proud of it. I feel comfortable putting it up on billboards and putting it on mailers and putting it on Facebook ads and YouTube ads and websites and landing pages because I like the way it looks. You have to be proud of your company look, your branding. Very, very, very important. Okay, so that's number two. And number three, when it comes to branding, is you need to find ways to get your message and your logo and your company look seen by the masses, right? This is very, very important. And this really does come from being willing to spend money in your business. So I'm going to save that part a little bit towards the number four thing we want to talk about, and that's investing into your business, okay? We want to save that for later because I think it can kind of bleed into that. But I think sometimes you got to pay to play to get your brand the recognition that it deserves, right? There's so many different ways you can brand, right? I mean, I'll share with you, in my opinion, what I feel like we've done a good job at my office in branding. So let's talk about, because I really look at what we do in our business like we have two businesses, right? I really look at it that way. So, and some people are like, what are you talking about? You have two businesses. Well, I believe what we do on the direct-to-consumer side is one, now it's all one corporation, everything like that, but I really look at it like there's two different focuses, two different businesses, everything like that. Different team members that help with different aspects of the business, etc. So I would say, Matt Murray, Dabber, it's live. I got you, buddy. I got you. So, but I really look at it like it's one. It's two different sides of the business for us, right? Because we work with agents, we work with clients. So I look at our direct consumer business as one piece of the business. I look at what we do with the agents, whether it be contracting agents, whether it be courses, whether it be the event, whether it be the summit, anything like that, as another completely different side of the business. And like I said, you can make the argument that it's really two different businesses altogether, all within one corporation. But they're very, very different focuses, right? And so what is our brand with consumers, and how have we branded ourselves to consumers? Well, I think on the consumer side, the way we branded ourselves is we started out by me publishing books. If you don't have a book that you published on Amazon, at the very least self-published on Amazon, it's so freaking easy to do it, you guys. A book instantly gives you credibility in the eyes of your consumer, even if it's shit. I'm not telling you to go write a shitty book. Don't do that. Try to make it good, but it doesn't have to be, some award-winning, award-written book or whatever the case might be. You want it to be good, but really it's done its job when it's a cover, a good-looking cover. Somebody sees it. It's a topic about Medicare, whatever it is that you do, if you don't do Medicare, and they see your name on it. The credibility is there. Because you know what I've learned about books? 8, maybe even 9 out of 10 people that you give a book to or purchase the book don't read it. And if they do open it and read it, they don't read much of it. Because the average American reads, on average, depending on your statistic. Now, I read the statistic about a year ago. It might be a different statistic now, but I guarantee it's not much different. The average American reads 1.5 books a year. So it's social proof what a book does. So that's how we started with the branding, right? Books. I've put out multiple books. I put out 3 for consumers. I put out 1 for agents. Done its job. How many pages was my book? They're usually all under, there's one that's 60, 70 pages. There's one that's like 150 pages. But the one that's 150 pages has huge font. So it's a quick read. All my books are quick reads, and they've all made me a lot of money in terms of getting me new business, right? And I think they're good books. I think they're good reads. Anybody that wants to listen to how to be a 6-figure Medicare agent, the audiobooks on the YouTube channel for free, right? I just really tried to give back with that one. But books is the first thing we did with branding. The next thing we did was we started to make content, okay? So we started to make content, and we started to do the Everything Medicare podcast was the first thing we did, and then later we did a direct-to-consumer YouTube channel, right? So we started videoing the podcast or anything like that. And the Everything Medicare podcast became a phenom. For about 3 years, it was the #1 rated podcast on the internet. Now, it's kind of taken a step backwards because I've really taken my foot off the gas with new episodes, but in its peak and in its prime, we were doing 3 new episodes a week. Huge commitment for me, but I was committed to growing this thing. And even though I've done 1 new episode of it this year and maybe 3 in the last 8 months, we still get calls, if not every week, every other week, from people that found it, turning 65, retiring from all over the country because it's made that much of an impact. We have 260 plus episodes of the Everything Medicare podcast. So content creation, content with a purpose to educate, right? So often people think when they're making content that they should make infomercials. Do you like watching infomercials? You watch their videos and it's just a big long pitch about their company. It's okay to put a video out every now and then pitching something, right? And making it a big infomercial, or even maybe sliding it at the end, right? Just a little pitch or the beginning or something like that. But every piece of content, or 9 out of 10 pieces of content that you put out into the stratosphere, should literally be with the purpose of educating your target audience without the expectation of getting anything back, right? Gary Vaynerchuk calls it jab, 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 right hook, right? Who's read that book? One of my favorite all-time books by the great Gary Vaynerchuk. So jab, 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 right hook, if you haven't read the book, is give, 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 and ask. And I would argue that it should be give, 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 ask, right? That's what I'm doing right now. What am I doing right now? I'm giving. I'm jabbing right now. Next week, I might do a right hook. I might ask. But I'll do it in a way to where it's not distasteful, right? You educate without the expectation of getting anything in return with your content. And that's how you make great content, right? The Everything Medicare podcast in its prime was getting about 5,000 new downloads a week, or plays, or whatever metric you want to use, right? Every platform is different. It was on probably 20 different platforms. And of course, the video versions later were put up on YouTube. It did so much for my business, and the direct-to-consumer business. With the YouTube channel, we started doing just YouTube videos in general. Absolutely did very well over time. It's funny. I haven't done as many videos on that channel. We need to do some more. But it has grown more in this year than it did at this time last year at the same point in the year. And I was putting out videos, like 3-4 videos a week on that channel. But I laid the groundwork. The content is there, and new people are finding it all the time, right? And they're contacting our office because they found it. What else do we do to brand, right? I talk about content creation a lot, so I'm not going to beat you guys over the head with that. I'm not going to talk much about it because I've talked about it so much that, to be honest, it's exhausting to me. What else do we do to brand? Well, every type of advertisement we do is branded. It's either got my face on it or logo, both, most of the time both. Facebook ads, it's always a video of me, right? It's not ran from some generic Facebook account. And I know a lot of people that do really well by using just generic Facebook accounts, but they're getting low intent leads, right? They might get cheap leads, but they're getting low intent leads. Good question, Javad. I will come back and answer every single question in the comments. You have my word. So if you have a question that you want me to talk about or answer, I'll answer it. So throw it in the comments if you're watching and you have any specific questions. When I get to the end of all the material that I have scheduled for you guys and pre-prepared, I'll come back and answer all these questions. So great question, Javad. I will come back to that, okay? So don't go away. But the other, so all of the advertising we do, like Facebook ads, it's usually a video of me using our branded, Facebook account and things like that. And we probably pay more per lead than some other people do, but the intent is much higher on the leads that we do get. All of our direct mail that we're doing now is branded. Every now and then we'll do a generic, direct mail drop with like lead concepts or something just to get some, some fillers if we just have slow time and we need some leads to work. But our normal direct mail, turning 65 mailers that we send out every month are branded. They have been for some time, for a couple of years now. That helps, especially over a long period of time. Billboards, you guys have seen the billboards, right? The billboards, branded, got my face in it, super creepy. Super creepy for me to drive past. I try to do everything I can to avoid driving past the billboards. If I can take a different route and not see the billboard, I will do it, because I don't want to see that giant King Kong-like picture of myself. Because you guys might think I love my face being everywhere with how much you guys see my face, but it actually makes me very uncomfortable, but I have to push through it because I believe that I'm the face of the business and my face has to be out there if I'm the face of the business, right? Doesn't mean you have to necessarily do it that way, but that's just kind of how we've done it. Of course, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. We started to experiment with YouTube ads. YouTube ads are trickier, but we've had up and down success with them. Mailers, all that stuff, right? All that paid advertising. Some stuff that we're not doing, but you could do. Television ads, radio ads. We were on the cocktail party last night, and Enrique's on there, and Enrique does a radio show, right? That's great branding, right? If I was doing a radio show, I would get a copy of the radio show that I did, and I'd put it up as a podcast, because then I'm using my content. I'm getting that much more out of my content, and I'm putting it out there in a way that it can reach more audiences, okay, on a more national scale. Now, national is one thing. The other thing, is our website, right? We've put our website out in a very educational manner. We've put our YouTube videos all over the website, created good articles, blogs, things like that, used the right keywords, built the website the right way, and that's helped us do well on a local SEO perspective. So people, from time to time, will stumble across the website. It's connected with Google My Business. It's connected to my YouTube channel for direct-to-consumer. And, because of that, people will find us when they're Googling Medicare help in the area. If they're within about 40, 50 miles of us, they'll find us pretty easily. People call in from that. That's basically a referral as far as I'm concerned. It's an interested person that's picking up the phone and calling in. It's almost as good as a referral. I would say referrals are slightly better. All of that is branded. All of that is a result of the branding, and it all helps each other. It all works in unison because these people are seeing the mailers, they're seeing the billboards, they're seeing the advertisements online, they're seeing videos, they're seeing this, they're seeing that. They see everywhere. And it all helps each other out, in my opinion. So the other side of the business is the agent side. How do we brand the agent side? Well, this Facebook group is branding for my business, for agents. Really is, right? Six Figure Medicare Agent is branding for my business for agents. My YouTube channel, lots of you probably watch the YouTube videos. That is branding for my business. It is. The Six Figure Medicare Agent Summit is branding for my business for agents, right? You build something special and people will come, no matter who you're trying to attract. Agents, clients, doesn't matter. You build it, and you build it right, and you build something that's worth them coming to, and they'll come. So I'm going to move on from branding. I kind of spent a lot of time on that. Number 3, I want to talk about automation and delegation. Okay, this kind of goes back to culture a little bit on the delegation part of things. But I'll talk about automation first. Automation is incredibly important for your business because any mundane task that you can avoid doing yourself, you need to do that, right? And I'm not saying that it doesn't get done. There's certain mundane tasks that have to get done. Otherwise, your business isn't functioning properly, right? But what can you automate in your business? How many emails do you send on a day-to-day basis that you could automate through your CRM, through some kind of service, through Active Campaign, through Go High Level, through Eric Fierro's system, DFY? How much of your day-to-day tasks could you automate? And it might be more than you are expecting. It might be more than you would originally think. I have been amazed in the last 8 to 12 months at how many things I could remove from either my plate or one of our team members' plates. Because anybody that works for me and works in my office, to me, their time is incredibly valuable. I only get them for so many hours every day. So I want to make sure that they're doing something that we can't automate and something that they can do to make sure that it can remove it from my task so I can focus on different areas of the growth of the business. Automation can do that, right? How are we automating in our business? Well, through our CRM, we've always been able to automate, emails to leads to clients, things like that. I used to use a program called Active Campaign. Started using it last year. It was really great, and it would help us automate leads. It would send out ringless voicemails, of course. It would send out emails, of course, as well. Any CRM can really do that, most of them. It would send out text messages and things like that. What we're doing now is we're using Eric Fierro's DFY system, and I'm not trying to plug Eric or anything. It's just what we're using. And that is doing a lot of that automation for us. So when you get a lead, right, if you have to buy leads or you buy leads or anything like that, they say that the average lead takes about 6 attempts, 6 touches, 6 contacts in order for you to be able to get in touch. Most people, and me and Glenn Shelton talk about this all the time privately, most agents will call a lead once, maybe twice, and they'll be like, these leads suck, or nobody answers the phone or anything like that. Automation allows you to touch a lead many, many times automatically. I know people still that will individually type out an email and send it to somebody. If you're brand new, maybe you don't, you're just getting started, it's not a big deal. But like automation is a big, big deal, especially, in your business, because you can get it set up and you put a lead into a system, and within what I'm setting up right now with my leads, what I've done in the past, but what I'm kind of, structuring it to be what I've had it done in other systems, in Eric's system, is the second a lead comes in, text message, email, ringless voicemail. An hour later, all 3 again, different. An hour after that, all 3 again, different. A day later, all 3 again, different. So if we did those first 3 cycles, and there's a text message each time, there's an email each time, and there's a ringless voicemail each time, that's 9 touches without anyone actually calling the person. Now, of course, someone in my office is going to call the lead during that time period, so you add how many calls they make, right? But automation, right? Instead of needing to call a lead 10, 11, 12, 13 times to get them on the phone, you might only need to call them 2 or 3 times, potentially. Doesn't mean you should only call them 2 or 3 times, but they're going to see you trying to get in touch with them in a multitude of different ways, and they don't even realize it's not really you. It's the system working for you. It's cloning yourself in a way, right? So touching leads is something that a lot of you guys probably know about. I did a video about Thanks.io. Thanks.io is an automated mailing platform we're using. I've talked about it a lot lately. I have an affiliate link. If you're interested, let me know. Anything I can monetize, it's going to happen, guys. But I have an affiliate link for it. But essentially what we're doing is my office team used to print off birthday letters every month. It would take them probably, 2, 3, 4 hours a month, depending, to do this. And they would manually fold the birthday letters, put cards in it, and mail it out. And it just, took some time every month. Well, I found out we could automate that through something like Thanks.io. It's not the only platform that does that. We connect it with our CRM through Zapier, sends it over to Thanks.io, sends out a thank you card to new clients, activates a trigger in the CRM, and then it activates a trigger when they're 10 days away from their birthday, and then they get a card. It looks like it's handwritten, right? It's not so, boring or cut and dry. I mean, it looks very personable. Those are two things that my office staff does not need to do anymore. Automated. And very affordable too. Not really trying to plug anything. I'm just telling you what we are using. I used to use a mail house for our Turn 65 mailers. I moved that into Mailbox Power, completely set it up automated. We have a drip campaign of people turning 65. Mailbox Power is really cool. And I just started doing the transition in the last week or two. So don't have a lot of results to share with you guys, but it's the same strategy we've been using with the mail house for years and it's been effective. So this just helps me do it, but cheaper, and it's automated. So automation, guys, automation. Let's talk about delegation. Okay. Delegation is when you can bring somebody that's incredibly talented and a great fit for your organization into your business. They can work with the business. Essentially, you employ somebody. And they can take a task off of your plate, right? For most people, when you're first starting an agency and you're starting to get a book of business and a clientele, it's to come in and help you with customer service and take that off your plate. So you can do more of what you're good at and what they can't do, and that's sell. But there's other things. There's so many things that people can do. It just depends on the size of your business. But anything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and everybody's at a different place in their business too. Everybody's at a different level. So it's going to depend on where you're at. But in my opinion, I think if you have 500 clients, if you have at least 500 clients or more, and you don't have anybody working for your business, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're limiting your growth. Because if you're retaining 95% of your clients, you're taking good care of them. You're returning their calls. You're ordering their ID cards when they lose them every other day. And you're providing that good quality service, which is how, by the way, you stand out from your competitors. And people always complain about customer service and everything like that. Customer service is the lifeline of your business. And people say, oh, we don't have time to do that. You're right. You don't have time to do that. It doesn't mean it doesn't need to get done. It needs to get done. It just doesn't need to get done by you. You can bring great, talented people into your business, take great care of them, treat them well, and they will treat your business back very well. And you're working together, right? They can take that task off your plate so you can focus more on what you're great at, and that's selling, right? You can focus on what you're great at, and that's selling. Now, when you're trying to build an agency, eventually you can't write every app yourself. Now, this is a next level problem, right? I think if you're making $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year, $250,000 a year, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, that's where you're kind of entering that problem. And you need to build a sales team, probably internally, but maybe not necessarily, to start helping you make the sales. Because no matter how great a salesperson that you are, there's only so many sales you can make in a day because you're one freaking person, right? And it's vitally important that you understand that. It took me a long time to understand that. A lot of you guys probably know, if you followed the group for some time, that I was personally producing at a very large scale up until last year. Last year, right? At the end of the year, we had 90 to 100 agents across the country that we were partnered with, that we took care of, that we serviced. And I was still writing a ton of business. I was working 80, 90 hours a week, and I was like, this is madness. I'm miserable. what is the problem here? The problem was I was trying to do everything still. I was still wearing too many hats. And some of you need to understand that you're wearing too many hats. You need to take some off and share the love. Find another head for the hat to go on. And there's just different places in your business that's going to be relevant, right? But I've always been of the opinion there's levels to this, right? So you start off selling yourself. That, in my opinion, is going to be the best key. You sell yourself because you can control the income. You come on right off the bat and you're recruiting agents, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I've said it time and time again because 9 out of 10 agents don't make it, no matter how good of training you're doing. But also, you're still new. You're still learning. You don't know what you don't know. The blind leading the blind, right? I think you should sell. And sell until you're making a fantastic income. Once you have a duplicatable process, then you bring people on that you can teach that process to, right? But you get to the point where you're selling and you're capped out of what you can do on a day-to-day basis because of the service work, everything like that, right? You bring someone in to help you with the customer service. Great. You start selling more and more and more and more and more. You have all these lines open, if you will, of business that are coming at you from all angles, right? Because you're established, you're developed now as a business, right? Let's say you have 1,000 clients. Say you have 800 clients, whatever the case might be. Then it's time for you to start bringing on other people internally and teaching them how to do what you do, right? And having them duplicate your efforts and sell. From that point, you can focus on marketing, getting better quality leads, getting people to call into the business, generating business. Like you can focus on things behind the scenes, right? So there's different levels that you have to get to, and as you go, and not everything is relevant for every single person in their journey, okay? But delegation is important. It goes back to what I was talking about in terms of culture, but delegation is a great thing, and you want to work with great people in your business, and that's a blessing when you have great people in your business, because great people make the business a business instead of just you working, on your own, trying to do 10 million things at once, neglecting your family, et cetera, et cetera. As I sit here and neglect my family. No, I'm just kidding. Wifey is very supportive, and she knew I was going to do this, and she was actually happy that I was going to spend some time and help you guys. So thank her for me being able to do this. If you're jumping on, you weren't on before, just wanted to let you guys know, any questions you have for me, once I'm through my final point here, which is investing into your business, I will go through and answer every single question you put in the comments. So I see there's some questions that I put on there that have been put in the comments there. I will come back and answer them all. So throw any questions you have for me in there, or any topic you want me to talk about. I will stay on here as long as possible. I don't care how long it takes. I'll answer every single question that you put in there for me, okay? This live stream is about bringing you value to your business. That's the point of it. That's what I'm here to do. So anything you want to know that I can help you with in your business, throw it in the comments. It will get answered. You have my guarantee, okay? All right, so point number 4 about your agency growth, getting your agency to boom, 4th pillar, if you will, is investing in your business. And this comes from a very personal place for me, because for so long, I was scared to invest into my business. I was terrified to invest into my business and spend money on my business, to spend money on advertising, to spend money on marketing, because I was afraid of the risk. There's always a risk when you spend money, when you invest into anything. Anything. I don't care what it is. Stocks, real estate, your business, marketing campaign. There's no guarantee that you will have a good return of investment, especially if it's something that's uncharted territory. There's tons of people out there in the marketing world that will try to convince you, be like, I'll guarantee a 10x return or a 100x return, blah, 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 blah. Nobody can guarantee shit. Sorry, guys. Where you find progress is by testing things, trying things, and experience. Now, you can learn things to avoid through other people's mistakes. Having a mentor is helpful for that. having somebody that you can, I don't think buying courses is bad. I've learned a lot of things that have helped me be a better marketer by buying courses and learning from somebody who's an expert marketer. Maybe they're better in a certain area of marketing than I am. Education is good, but anytime someone's trying to sell you snake oil and tell you that you'll never lose money, that's just simply typically not the case. There's never any 100% guarantee. Now, that being said, being dedicated to learning, testing, and being willing to lose the money that you're spending, right? Being willing to put money out there that you are okay losing, potentially. Doesn't mean you won't make it back someday, at some point, but it takes courage to invest in your business. That's what I was so scared about. But you know what I learned that really kind of helped me get over the hump and why we spend what we do now? I've already spent, should I tell you guys what I've spent on the business this year? There's certainly people in this Facebook group that have spent more than me. Let me start off by saying that. But I've already spent about 80 grand this year on my business. Last year I spent over 100 grand on the business in terms of expenses. Now that's not including payroll. If you include payroll and things like that, I'm well over 100 grand already. But in terms of like advertising, just little things that I can calculate that's not payroll, we're probably about 80 grand. But if you include payroll, yeah, we're probably like well over 100 grand. I don't know the exact number, but so I guess you could say we've already spent 100 grand on the business, right? We'll probably spend 200, 300, maybe 400 grand on the business this year. I don't know exactly. We're going to spend a ton during AEP. But what really got me over the hump in terms of being willing to spend the money on my business is it was up here for sure. It was a mental adjustment I needed to make. But I was looking at it as an expense and not an investment. An expense has no possibility that you'll ever get any return on the investment. It's just gone. It's like a bill. An investment is something that can pay off big time if it works. And once I got that through my head, it's not an expense, it's an investment. Helped me get over the hump and helped me really have the courage to do it. Nowadays, we spend a ton of money on the business. And it's how we've been able to grow like we've been able to grow in the last 3, maybe 4 years. Investing is vital. Real businesses invest in their business. Real business owners invest in their business. Do you think Coca-Cola doesn't spend a ton of money on their business? On advertising, on marketing? Do you think any business that's very successful, take your pick, doesn't spend money on their business? You probably have all heard this before, but if you treat your business like a business, it will pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. And there's only so far you can scale grassroots marketing, pounding the pavement, all that stuff. There's going to be a ceiling for sure. Spending money in your business, and you need to spend money in your business to do everything I've talked about here today. You need to spend money in your business to develop a great culture. You need other people around you. You can't just be alone at a desk somewhere and say we have a great culture. It's you. You're the culture. You're you in the mirror, right? You need other people around you to develop a great culture. That costs money. To brand your business effectively, you need to spend money to do that. To effectively automate, to have great delegation in your business. It's going to cost money. Investing in your business is vitally important. And I think that it's something that I'm sure you guys have heard from other people. I'm sure you've heard it from me at one point or another. However, I don't think everybody understands it. Now, someone's going to listen to this, and you're going to have no money, and you're going to be like $10,000 in credit card debt, and you're going to open up another credit card and just max it out. I'm not saying don't spend money that you don't have or that you can't afford to lose or put on the line or risk or anything like that. I'm not telling you guys to do that, but if you're making 100 grand a year, you're making 90 grand a year, you're making 150 a year, and you've got some money tucked away, and you really want your business to boom, and you never spend any money on your business, and you're like, oh, this is great, right? And my overhead's so low. it's not a bad idea to spend the money. I was that guy. I was that guy making $125 a year, $150 a year. And it wasn't until I started treating my business like a business that it started to grow like a business. So just a little food for thought, okay? All right, guys, Q&A, all right? So I'm going to go through the chat here, and I'm going to answer every single question you guys have asked so far. Of course, please do me a favor, drop more comments on here. I will spend as much time on here as necessary. I will stay up as late as you guys want me to, and I'll answer everything because I'm here to give back. I see that Sandra was on the call. Thank you so much, Sandra. Sandra Gephardt, ladies and gentlemen, is my favorite, one of my favorite people, and she's definitely somebody that you want to get to know. She said, yes, you set the standard. This is relating back to culture. Couldn't agree more. Glenn Shelton said Red Bull. Yes. I mean, Glenn Shelton is a bad influence on me, ladies and gentlemen, because I know I shouldn't be drinking Red Bull. I know it's not good for me, but I see him drinking it, it makes me want it, even if it's sugar-free, and he's drinking sugar-free, which sometimes he does. I don't drink sugar-free. It makes me want the real deal. It's just like the little devil on your shoulder whispering in your ear. I know I should be drinking water or something, but here I am on a Friday night drinking Red Bull. Sandra said, yes, check that ego, about culture. Yes, it's so important. Tia, absolutely. Thanks, Tia. Clay, what would you say is the best practice when you're currently solo, wanting to expand to take the next step? What preparation is involved, or what would you do over again if you could? That's a great question on that, Clay. So there's really two questions that are being asked here. So I'm going to answer them one at a time, okay? So the best practice when you're currently solo is to spend as much time as you can getting in front of new clients and income-producing activities to build up that book of business. Because when you're solo, the goal should be to grow big enough to where you can't continue to grow to be solo anymore. People say, when should I hire people? When should I start bringing on staff? When should I do all this stuff? My answer is as soon as you can afford to, right? So when you're solo, the battle cry should be to get as many clients as you can as fast as possible. So that's the way, right? More clients means more income, more revenue, right? So that's the next step. I mean, that's the only way to expand, get in front of people. And there's so many ways you could do it, right? I mean, you could just buy a batch of leads, call them, door knock them. I mean, it all works. You'll write business. Might not be the most effective way, but whatever you got to do to get started. And Clay, I'm not saying you're just getting started, but that's really what my advice would be, is just to focus on writing business and income-producing activities, because if you do that, your income will grow, your clientele will grow, and then before you know it, you'll be fully prepared to be able to take that next step and start building an actual business, right? What preparation is involved? And the second part of your question, what preparation is involved, or what would I do over again? So there's two things I would do over again if I had to just start from scratch. The first thing is I would invest money in my business faster, sooner than I did. It wouldn't have taken me 5-6 years to do it. The next thing I would do is I probably would I would have hired somebody in my business sooner than I did. I had about 600 clients before I hired my first person into my business. And I wish I did it like at 400 or 500, because I probably could have afforded it at that point in time. I didn't have a lot of expenses yet. I didn't have a kid yet or anything like that. So those are the two things I would say. Great question, by the way. Thank you for that. What's up, Julie? Hope you're having a great night. I have a current employee that takes initiative and is very, very resourceful. Good. What I would say on that, Julie, is take great care of her. I'm sure you are, but make sure that you're showing her that she's appreciated and that she feels like everything she's getting in your business is fair. It's so hard to find good people, especially these days. Kevin asked, do I have a mission statement? Yeah, I kind of answered that. So I saw that question earlier, so I kind of just included it in what I was talking about. So that's great. And thanks for mentioning that. Matt Murray wanted me to dab. I did it. So there, Murray. Kevin said, I've spent years branding myself with my pick on everything. Now I want to brand my company and struggle with that transition. How would you move from one to another? I'm not so sure you have to, Kevin. And I'll tell you why. If you are the brand, doesn't mean you can't, but if you are the brand and you start delegating things to other people, or you want other people to write the business, you can kind of use that to your advantage. Like if you get a lead on your website, let's say, somebody that knows Kevin, wants to work with Kevin, or a referral or something like that, you can have the agent call in and say, hey, I'm calling from Kevin Klute's office. I'm just getting back with you. Kevin asked me to give you a call. Right? Grant Cardone does that. Grant Cardone's a billionaire. Grant Cardone's salespeople call up and say, hey, this is so-and-so calling with Grant Cardone's office. Grant wanted me to give you a call. Grant has no idea who you are. Grant didn't ask them to give you a call. But they use that. Right? But Grant's in the forefront of everything. So not saying you necessarily have to do that if you didn't want to, if you've already done all the groundwork at branding yourself. Starting to change your brand is essentially like starting from ground zero. Now, if you wanted to, it's just about when you're advertising, advertise as a company. Stop using your face as much. Might be hard, and you might see a little bit of a drop off right off the bat, but just some thoughts, food for thought on that. I love the question. Kevin asked about the book. Great question. Thanks for that. Huge font, yes. Huge font, right? I can pump out books pretty quickly. Manny, my brother, who is in science, has published several articles, and he says a lot of his high-paying jobs he gets are because of his articles. Yeah. I think articles are great, right? Articles on your website, LinkedIn. You can even write articles on LinkedIn and share them all over social media. LinkedIn's a cool platform. For that alone, there's a lot of cool things you can do on LinkedIn. I've been meaning to get on LinkedIn and write some articles myself, which I think is so cool you can do it. Writing articles on your website helps your SEO for sure on your website. It does. Blog, articles, all that stuff. What about advertising mastery? How has it worked so far out lately? So advertising mastery, that was the question by Javad. I told you I'd come back to it. Here I am. That is Justin Thomas's advertising platform. It's essentially a course that he built. Usually charges about $7,800 for it. And I did a review video on it last year after I went through it. And essentially what it is he's teaching how to build webinars and advertise with webinars, right? And completely automate your Facebook ads and do pre-scheduled appointments. It's worked really, really well. I haven't been using those advertisements lately because I have new agents in the office, and I'm trying to get them up to speed. But once they are, I'm gonna start running them again to try to get them pre-scheduled appointments. But it has worked really, really well, fantastically well. We actually trashed every other Facebook ad we were running and started doing exclusively that system in those webinars because nothing else really worked as well. So what ends up happening is you put them through multiple steps, right? So you have a pre-recorded video. It's a webinar. It's of you giving a turning 65 presentation. What I personally was doing was I was targeting people that were turning 65 on my Facebook ads. And you put them into a landing page, right, like a funnel, and it's a multiple page funnel, right? First funnel has pre-recorded video of you doing a presentation. You try to get them to pre-schedule an appointment. So there's a lot of steps they have to go through. So it raises the cost per person you actually end up talking to than maybe a lower intent lead. But what you get is super interested, super serious, and super high intent individuals. So it's profitable from that margin. So it works amazing. I just need to get my new people in the office up and running so we can start using it for them. So I hope that answers your question. Kevin, how far out do you schedule marketing in initiatives, mailer leads, etc.? So like for turning 65 mailers, I do a drip campaign. So and I've done this for a couple of years now. So I do 6 months before their birthday. I send another card mailer 5 months before their birthday, and I send another one 4 months before their birthday. They all look similar. So that's how I do that. Just depends on what I'm trying to sell. But for turning 65 specifically, that's kind of where it's probably most time sensitive. Do you plan budget annually, and how do you determine amount for marketing, percentage of business? To be honest, it changes all the time throughout the year. As the business grows, I'm always adding more to it. So it's kind of like a quarterly thing for me, really. I probably am looking at it once a quarter and not once a year in terms of that. And determine the marketing percentage of business. I want to make sure I understand the question. How do you determine amount for marketing percent? You mean like percentage of income? I think it just depends on where you're at in your business and what you can afford. I think everybody's different. Everybody's got different. Some people got like 6 kids, tons of bills, whatever the case might be. So it's different for everybody. For me, I probably spend, I'll be real. I'll be transparent with you guys. Last year, I spent probably 50% of all of our revenue on business expenses, marketing, payroll, everything like that. So I spend a lot. Christina said educate. Absolutely, on the content. Consistency, Kevin, that's 100% right. Automation is a big deal, so we can focus on bigger and better things, says Christina, 100%. What CRM do? What does a CRM do? A CRM keeps information, keeps data, but it also can automate tasks and send emails, things like that. CRM is great. Client relationship management tool is what a CRM is. Michael said, are you thinking of hiring specific agents to focus on life insurance or annuities for your current clients? Great question. Yes, I am. Right now, we're more focused on building out the LOA team for Medicare so that I can be completely replaced in terms of writing new business. Every once in a while, I'm still needing to write an app here or there. But once I'm completely out of the picture and replaced and it's doing well and we've got a system developed, I'll probably bring somebody in for life. I'll probably bring somebody in for annuities. I'll probably bring someone in for ACA. The answer is yes, but not right now. Maybe next year. Tia said she's amazing. My wife? Thank you. I think so too. Who did you work with to write, edit, proof, read my book? Okay, so I'll share this with you guys. I talked about this. I was invited to be the headline speaker at the Idaho NAHU event a couple weeks ago. I talked about this from stage, and I think everyone was like, "Really? You gotta be kidding me!" And so what I said about the books was my first book I ever wrote. Now, keep in mind, I think I wrote it in like 2016. I didn't have anyone proofread it. Nobody. And it had all kinds of spelling errors and grammar errors and things like that. Remember what I said. The book sold like 600 copies on Amazon before anybody pointed it out to me that there was all these mistakes. I didn't even know. Now what I do when I write a new book is I'm very fortunate, and this kind of comes back to bringing great, talented, and skillful people into your business. My assistant actually previously worked for an author, like a real author, like a big-time author. And she worked as a proofreader for him. So she proofreads all my books now before I put them out. And she's amazing. She catches a million things. She's like, yeah, this is not good. This is not good. So she went back and proofread my old books. We put up new cut versions of them, updated them, and everything like that. But at the beginning, nobody. But now she does it because, hey, she's a professional, like literally a professional. I love bringing people into the business that have all kinds of unique and different skill sets because you never know how it's going to come in handy. Manny, see you in a few weeks. Yes, sir. Excited about it. 6-Figure Medicare Agent Summit, you guys. Man, so excited about that. Kevin said, are you using Facebook for targeted ads? Yeah, I target people based on their birthday, right? So certain times out from their birthdays and things like that, in which you can customize who you're targeting. And I target, of course, by age, demographic, everything like that. Tia said, with mailers, would you recommend Turn 65 or LIS as a target? Good question. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not a big fan of the dual market or the LIS market because they're typically needier clients and they'll change for a cookie. Literally, they'll change for a cookie. They'll change for anything, right? It's just the retention is not always there. And so because of that, they're easy come, easy go. You can probably get a higher response rate with LIS marketing and LIS mailers You can probably write more business in a hurry with LAS marketing and LAS mailers. But you're going to have more chargebacks. You're going to have more people changing. And so it might cost more to market to turning 65, but I think you're going to keep the business longer, and I think it's going to be a better quality of client. So depends on what your goal is, but for me, I target to turn 65 more because it's just I'm not in love with the LAS dual market, if that makes sense. How do you pay LOA agents? A good question. So we pay a base salary currently for LOAs, and very strategic about who we pick for that. So we pay a base salary, and then we pay a percentage of commission, and we pay a percentage of renewals. And so I want to make it very, very lucrative, right? So LOAs that work with my organization do make renewals. Why do I do that? Because two things. I want to give them incentive to stay, because if they're good, I want them to be with us a long time. Number two, I want them to be incentivized to take care of the clients and keep them on the books. Of course, if they get enough clients where that's all they're doing, I might hire another admin just to work with their clients or something like that. But if they have, if they're under a couple hundred clients and, the person calls every now and then, I want them to take good care of them, and I want them to be incentivized to keep the client on the books. I don't want them to just feel like they never talk to the client again, that kind of thing. So those are the reasons why we do it that way. But I think it's a very, very lucrative thing. They work in the office. Of course, if someone's an LOA in my office, we provide leads and lead flow and low-hanging fruit and everything else in between. So I try to make it a very, very attractive and lucrative opportunity. Okay. Scott Wilborn. Who has a good Medicare 101 slideshow for educational events? I do. DM me your email. I'll send it to you. Now, it's a couple years old. I haven't used it for a while. And it's branded for me, so you'd want to go in and change the branding over to you. But I am happy to send it to you. You might want to update like the Part B premiums and things like that. But I am happy to send it to you. Just send me your email. I think I got a pretty good one, though. It's PowerPoint. Okay. Just get into the next question here. Michael, do you think Medicare will become privatized in the future by 2030? Or if insurance companies will work with doctor groups directly and push agents out? That's a good question. How will you change things if this happens? Okay, so do I think this is going to happen by 2030? No. Do I think it's going to happen ever? Maybe. I think eventually, I don't want to scare anybody by saying this, because think about how much money you can make if this happened in 20 years. How much money could you make in 20 years doing this business? I can make a ton before this happens, right? If it does happen. I don't know anything that you guys don't know, but if I had to guess, I think eventually something like that might happen. It might become privatized. It might become, working directly with the doctor groups. I mean, we're already kind of seeing it where big carriers are purchasing doctor groups and they're purchasing doctors' offices and things like that. So we're starting to see a little bit of that. How it would impact me, and if I had to guess, I would say it probably wouldn't happen for 20 to 30 years. So I don't think it's anytime soon. So I think there's a lot of money to be made and a great opportunity. I think everything that happens in government is slow moving, and that is such a difficult thing to pull off. I think we're so far away from that. How many people would go out of business, right? Insurance companies. I mean, if it went privatized, if it went true socialized medicine, Medicare for all, right? Insurance companies, bankrupt, basically. And I mean, I guess they could pivot and sell other products, I guess. I don't know. But tons of people, insurance companies would be laid off. All of us that specialize in it would be laid off. I mean, I have a hard time seeing it happen at this, and I don't know. But I have a hard time seeing it happen sooner rather than later. Let me put it that way. I believe that if it happens, it will happen a ways off. And hopefully for me, I've sold my business by then or something like that. Whatever the case might be, and I'm out. Not that I'm going to plan on getting out anytime soon, but I mean, if it happened in 20 years from now, 25 years from now, I'm not so sure I'll still be here. Hopefully I've sold my business or whatever, right? Now, if it happened, let's say next year, how would I pivot? I would start selling something else. I'd probably start selling annuities, life insurance. I'd pivot into something that's related. And that's what I would do. And I would market to our existing clients. I'd start marketing in general. And it'd be painful for the first little while, but I think we could do it. Learning curve, of course, because that's not what I do. But who publishes your books? I self-publish them on Kindle. It used to be called CreateSpace. It's a company that Amazon bought, so it's a subsidiary of theirs. And now they turned it into Kindle. They combined it with Kindle. So I self-publish through Kindle Publishing. Very, very easy to do. And it's either free or doesn't cost a lot, depending on kind of how you want to do it. It's very cool. You can order author copies for just the cost of printing the book. For mine, it's usually $2 or $3 a book if I order author copies. For other people, depending on how colorful and extravagant your book looks, it probably might cost $4, $5, $6, whatever the case might be. But yeah, you market books through Facebook website. I used to. I don't anymore. Through Facebook website. I thought you meant like our actual website, Kevin. But in terms of the books, I just have them up on Amazon. I put them in the links of all my YouTube videos and things like that. I have some links to them from our website. I used to post them a lot on Facebook. I don't anymore. I post the agent ones on Facebook now because, just like in the Facebook group and things like that. But I used to, but not so much anymore. My pleasure, Scott. Kevin said, how many states do you write in? Currently, we are licensed in 43 states. We have probably active clients in about 35 of them. In any state we don't have a client in, we have agents in that we work with. So there's a reason for us to be in any state that we're in. And the goal is probably sooner rather than later. I know I said this probably a year ago that we'd be in all 50 by now. Just haven't had the reason to. There's a couple states I'm just kind of really putting off picking up because I just know they're going to be a pain. Like, for example, I haven't picked up Wyoming. No offense to anybody that's in Wyoming, but isn't there like 5 people in Wyoming? And it's kind of expensive, right? For like a little tiny state in terms of population. I know it's not a little tiny state from a mass perspective, but in terms of population, there's not many people there. And so I haven't had a reason to. So there's a couple states that I'm just kind of really like putting it off, but eventually we'll probably get in all 50. But we're in 43 right now. All right, guys. What other questions you got for me? Anything else? Anything else you want me to answer? I'm surprised. I thought you guys had more for me. We're at 1 hour and 12 minutes so far. So any other questions that you guys want to know, throw them in the comments and I'll answer it. I'll freaking answer it, whatever it is. Susie said, are you in New York? Yes. And I'll tell you guys, my agency license for my corporation to get licensed in New York was probably one of the worst experiences of my whole career. The New York Insurance Department is probably the worst insurance department that I've ever dealt with that exists. It took me 5, maybe 6 months to get that done. It was awful. What were you thinking about 8% Nation meeting this year? No, I will not be in attendance. And trying to tread lightly in terms as to why. But what I will give you guys in terms of an inside scoop is I don't agree with a lot of what's being done at those events. I'm a big fan of events. And I went last year and I had a lot of fun. But I'm just not so sure. I'm a big believer of the direction, right? It seems like it's less about insurance, X's and O's content, and more about big names and hype and excitement and motivation than it is about X's and O's. And at this point in my business, I'm X's and O's guys. And I'm an X's and O's guy more than I am motivation. I think motivation has its purpose, and also, a couple things happen to some agents that work with us as a result of going to the event that I won't stand for, so I'll leave it at that. What else, guys? What else do you want to know? What else do you want to know? You got that out of me, Mike. You got that out of me. I'm trying not to talk about it, but there it is. It's out there. Can't take it back. Tia said a lot of selling. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I will leave it at that. Thanks, Brian. I really appreciate that. My pleasure. I'm just happy to share anything I can that I've experienced to help you guys in your business. Just really want to give back and show you guys how much I appreciate you, because this is a fantastic community, and I love this Facebook group. I want to do everything I can to help you guys and get back to it. What are the questions, guys? Anything else you guys want to know? I will give it a second here, and if we see any more questions, I will answer them. If not, I will close this baby out. It wasn't in your last YouTube video. Thanks for the info. Yeah, my pleasure. So I'll share a little insight on that. You mean the Taco Tuesday video, I'm assuming, right? The conferences one that Glenn and I did. I originally talked about it, and I thought, oh, crap, I shouldn't talk about that, and we got edited out. So there's that. Brandon, how much do you use VAs, virtual assistants? So right now I have one virtual assistant that we get through Lead Heroes. Got to talk to you guys about Lead Heroes. No, I'm just kidding. But I have one that we use from Lead Heroes in the Philippines, and she's fantastic. So one thing that you guys might have noticed is we started a six-figure Medicare Agent Instagram account. If you're not following it, you should. So I have my VA that actually is posting. So any post you see under any of my accounts on Six-Figure Medicare Agent for Instagram, or if you see my LinkedIn account posting or my Twitter account or anything like that, that's never me posting. It's always my VA. So like my VA has done a great job putting together some of these designs. So here's one that she put out just today. I don't know how well you can see that. It's just like a quote. So she'll go through my YouTube videos, find a quote of something I said that sounds interesting, I guess. And she puts together a design, and she's done a great job. She's really, really good at that design work, and so she's doing a lot for social media. She's monitoring my LinkedIn account, because I get tons of messages every day on LinkedIn. So she responds to them. If they're spam, she just reads them so the notification goes away. So she keeps up with all that stuff, and she's done a fantastic job. She's really just helped out with the social media. So really, the social medias that I pay attention to is I pay attention to Facebook, I pay attention to YouTube, and that's about it. If it's something important, she'll send me a screenshot of something, and I'll tell her how I want her to respond. But I don't see most of what happens on my other channels. But they're still thriving. My LinkedIn account's growing all the time because she posts. I have her on a set schedule to where she's posting 3-4 times a day, every day, and getting a ton out of the platform. So that's how I'm using the virtual assistant right now. And then I do have a virtual team member that works in Georgia, but I wouldn't really say she's a virtual assistant. She's our agent relations person. She's amazing. Celeste, if you don't know Celeste. Celeste is awesome. You're amazing. Thank you, T. I appreciate it. Kevin said, "Are you considering TikTok?" Yeah, I keep dabbling with it. I have such a hard time being consistent with it. So, like, in my opinion, and this was something I was told from Scott Sims, who really just crushes TikTok. If you don't know Scott, he has a great channel. He's told me that, like, I tried to do it in the past where I had somebody that was in my office that was taking clips of my YouTube videos and putting it on TikTok, and they just never really took off or performed very well. One thing he told me was, you really need to make content just for TikTok, and it needs to be like the right kind of content, right? You guys know what I'm talking about if you're on TikTok. And it's just the consistency is hard, in my opinion. it's hard to be able to just every day be putting them out. And I watched some videos on YouTube of some really big TikTokers, and they're like, you need to be like posting 5 to 10 times a day. I'm like, I'm so freaking busy. So I'm dabbling. I'm interested in it. I think there's a lot of potential in it. It's just the time commitment of it is what I've struggled with, to be honest, with TikTok. I love the platform, though. I think it's got so much potential. And I think it's probably not going to be as lucrative in maybe 2 years, if I had to guess. How much for VA? So Glenn charges, well, I'll just be honest with you guys. I probably don't pay what you guys would pay. I get a pretty good discount. It's part of our sponsorship deal. So reach out to Glenn. He can tell you exactly what the prices would be, but make sure that you use a coupon code, 6-figure Medicare Agent SFMA, because you get a discount for just being part of the group on leads and services and things like that. But I don't want to misspeak, so I'm just going to direct you to him. Do you use Google Analytics? I use YouTube Analytics for my YouTube channels and things like that. I've looked at Google Analytics. I don't look at it all the time, though. But YouTube Analytics is huge for my YouTube channel and the rankings and how we're using keywords and tags and all those things, right? What times of the day we should be putting our videos and everything like that. I watched a YouTube video where you had a code for a discount on a pre-licensing course with Excel. Is that code still good? Yes, it is. It is. That code is everlasting. So if you can still find that video and you want to do it, go for it. If you need me to send you the video, let me know. I can either comment it on your comment or I can DM it to you if you still need it. So just let me know. But yes, we can get that done for you. It's still active and available. Michael said for referral fees for your referral partners, do you have a contract or is it just a handshake? Is the payment only for new client / sale? So handshake, I never put anything in writing with that. I don't know. I think it would just weird a lot of people out. Be like, oh, what am I agreeing? People don't like to sign things, right, if they don't have to. Someone wanted to do a referral thing with me, and they wanted me to sign something, I probably wouldn't do it. So I'm like, why do I have to sign anything? I have like 20 referral partners. Why do I need? I never had to sign anything, right? So that'd be my approach. So I don't. I've had a couple people try to screw me to where like they'd send me a client, I would write it, I'd pay them a referral fee, and then they'd start selling Medicare themselves and go out and roll it like 6 months later. Had that happen, it's a risk you're going to take. Get another Red Bull for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I should have it or not.
Well, I got it like my
Okay. But yeah, it's just mostly been a handshake thing. Is the payment only for a new sale / client? Yes, it is. I send $100 per new client, and my rule of thumb has been they have to have a health insurance license. I know there's been some rule changes with that, but I'm not as up to speed on them, so I still do that just because I'm just scared, I guess, to do anything other than that and misinterpret a rule or anything like that. So I did a really, really great training with Lester Kahn at Agent Pipeline. If you're part of 6-Figure Medicare University, the recording of it is up in there, and he talks about some rule changes and like who you can pay referral fees to that you couldn't in the past. So if you missed that, you're not in 6-Figure Medicare University, there's a good reason to get into it because there's so many great trainings in there, and that's just one of them, right? A lot of great feedback from Lester Kahn at Agent Pipeline, who will be a speaker at 6-Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Not too many people know Lester. He's kind of behind the scenes. But once I have him get up on that stage and speak, everybody will know him, and everybody will rave about him because he's brilliant, and he's so smart, and he's such an amazing person in our industry. But yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions? What else do you guys got for me? Do you got anything else? We're pushing about an hour and a half here. I told you I'll stay on as long as you guys want me to. If you have any additional questions for me, now's the time. I'll answer whatever you guys need. And I'm just going to give it a couple seconds here, maybe a minute or so. And if I don't see any new questions, then I'm going to close this puppy out. But I hope this was helpful for you guys. I do. I hope it was something that you got a lot of value out of, a lot of real talk, real information. And really, guys, I mean, I'm just trying to give back in a way that I wish I had when I was new, right? Like, I had my dad. My dad was a great resource, but my dad built his business in a different time, right? So some things we just, I wanted to try things that he just didn't know about, not good or bad. It's just, I wanted to try different ways, right? I wanted to build my business like, a modern business would. Michael said, 2023 summit decision yet, location. I can't tell you. The answer is yes, we have a location, but it's not going to be announced until at the event. So it will be announced at the event this year, but I can't talk about it yet because we have a tentative location reserved, but it's not in stone yet, so it might change, and I don't want to say it here and then it's different there. We do have something in place with a hotel right now, but it's not in stone yet. So the answer is yes, but I got to wait a little bit to tell you the exact location. All right, ladies and gentlemen. California, says Tia. Maybe. We'll see. Stay tuned. All right, guys, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on here tonight with me, and love doing these. So if you guys enjoy this, let me know about it, and I'm sure we can do more of these more often. And hope you guys have a wonderful. I will, Brian. That's the next thing. That's what I'm doing right now. My pleasure. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Kevin. I hope you guys have a great weekend. All you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Call your moms, tell them happy Mother's Day. If you are married and you're a guy like me, make sure to spoil the moms in your life, whether it's yours or your wife or anything like that. So have a great weekend, guys. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you later. Adios.